Spain. Beautiful country indeed. And today we are gonna ask ourselves if is it worth it right now for offshoring, expats, travelers, whatever may be the case. Well, today we're gonna discuss. Of course, Spain is a beautiful country. I love Spain, great country. However, Spain has its pros and cons, and especially depending on your particular situation, whatever might be your endeavor on Spain. So today we're gonna try to do a particular Reader's Digest on Spain and if it might be a good fit for you. That already said that it's a beautiful country that of course said it many times already, but I mean it's worth saying it because it's a beautiful country indeed. A lot of culture, the architecture is breathtaking, and the infrastructure is beautiful. And a country with four seasons. Also, a great country that has a lot of diversity: beaches, mountains, cities, urban areas, rural areas, and everything in between. Also great located, it's just on the west of the European continent, and for pleasure, for travel, for living, for retiring is a great option. However, the main issue comes regarding economics. And if your particular endeavor that you might attempt on Spain, that's when the issues come. Spain, regarding the macroeconomics, is not faring that well. For instance, GDP per capita is actually one of the poorest countries on the European Union. Still decent, but it is what it is. Also, debt to GDP ratio is actually one of the highest countries on that regard, especially within the OECD nations. Let's put a chart here just to check that one out. And also, it has an issue with taxes. The tax burden in Spain is quite something, so you should be careful on that. If something that any particular endeavor that you have in Spain is tied, of course, on becoming a taxpayer. So the pros for Spain are gonna be if you are, for instance, if you are retiring, you are visiting Spain, you're a digital nomad and want to spend quite some time over there. The cost of living also is quite manageable. I'm not gonna say it's dirt cheap, but for a developed nation and compared to some underdeveloped nations, also fares very well. So living in Spain is not gonna break the bank if you come from a more developed nation like the US, like the UK, place like that. So it's very interesting. So there's a lot of value on what you can get from Spain. Also, like I said previously, options, variety, it has a lot. If you want to live close to the beach, or you want to live on a nice city, or if you are looking, a good ROI regarding cost of living, Spain actually is quite nice on that regard. It gives you actually bang for your buck regarding cost of living, with, of course, some caveats. Now, of course, the cons on Spain, yet again regarding macroeconomics, um, the taxes, and of course, this is not macroeconomics, it's personal finance. If you're planning to stay long term, basically make it your main hub of destination, on taxes, you're gonna get a bill on that, especially compared to other more fiscal friendly nations. So you have to keep that in mind. And also, if you want to be fully invested, I mean, starting a business and something like that, yeah, that is gonna be, gonna be quite something. I'm talking yet again the fiscal burden, also the bureaucracy, not as great for for a developed nation. Still something that you have to consider. And lastly, but this is very important, is regarding real estate. Real estate in Spain, regarding investing, well, I don't know. You have to consider it, of course, very important the location, because it's gonna make a dramatic difference, not only between cities and regions on Spain, but also regarding just a couple of blocks on the neighborhood, on a different neighborhood, that can make a lot of difference depending on your strategy, of course. And also it depends if you want to invest as a lifestyle, make a real estate lifestyle purchase that is gonna be, uh, if you are doing just that, doing a lifestyle purchase, that's a completely ball game. Now, if you want to play both sides, a nice property that also you can have a nice yearly ROI and cash flow, well, that's a completely different game and something that you have to consider. Putting your odds also on the appreciation of capital, getting a capital gain on such investment, something that you have to consider as well if you want the best of both worlds, regarding the financial side of purchasing real estate and also the lifestyle. Not necessarily those two are gonna match. Of course, there are a handful of interesting properties on that regard. Let's talk about how the lifestyle is on Spain. Well, it's more laid back. So on that regard, if you like the hustle and bustle of the big city, something like that, like in New York, place like that, or Hong Kong, whatever may be the case. Well, Spain is not like that. It's very laid back, especially even for European standards. So you have to consider that if you are, very busy, hustle and bustle. The other thing is regarding how the average Spaniard is gonna connect with you. Well, the English level is not as great, a little bit better than Latin America, still not as great. Of course, depends on the circles and the social milieus that you are involved. It's gonna depend how good or how bad is gonna be the English level. Of course, there are a community of entrepreneurs, businessmen, also digital nomads, expats, people on offshore affairs. So in that regard, I'm sure you're gonna make friends over there in Spain. I mean, Spaniard people are, I mean, most of them are actually cool people. Not all, but most of them. And also, if you're a big fan of soccer, yeah, that's the highlight of Spain. Has arguably one of the best soccer leagues in the world. If that is your cup of tea, and also you have different cultural expressions like bullfighting, and of course that's up to you if you like it or not. And also you have the flamenco dancing and literature. Spain is actually remarkable on that regard. Uh, Painting, whatever. There are a bunch of Spaniard artists, and so if you like museums and things like that, and actually I do fancy some culture every now and then, and actually Spain is great for cultural expressions. And the final note regarding the social issue is dating. Let's say if you're a single man and you want to go Spain in dating. Well, the market works. It's a tricky market to navigate because you have pros and cons actually, but depends because you have some of the good things on being on a developed nation and a lot of the bad things of being a developed nation, but also on vice versa. There are some things that for a developed nation actually is a good market depending on what you're looking for. The Spaniard mindset combined with the Latin American mindset, and also combined with European, Western European influence. So you have to keep that in mind. So it's a very tricky market. And actually, for my clients that look let's say this particular that I consult them regarding lifestyle and things like that offshore, for a couple of clients, I recommended Spain because fits a particular profile for them and for their requirements. But it's not gonna be for everyone. In order to sum it up, Spain, beautiful country, a lot of issues to work around depending on your particular case. Now, Spain is going to be for you, well, it fits, it's a great fit for certain profiles, but it's not for everyone. So, on that regard, you have to be careful if you are shopping right now for a particular country, depending if you are an investor, a digital nomad, a traveler, whatever might be the case. Spain, a bunch of pros and cons that the end result is going to depend on your particular profile and your particular objectives. Thank you for watching Continental Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. And if you want to work with us, continentalinsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.